It was early morning when the news broke, a challenge so audacious that it sent shockwaves across the automotive world. A self-powered car, an invention many still doubted as science fiction, was set to take on Tesla in a grueling 1,000-mile endurance run. Journalists from around the globe gathered to witness this moment, cameras flashing, commentators buzzing, and skeptics sharpening their critiques. At the heart of this event was a sleek, futuristic vehicle designed by an African-born inventor named Michael Stephenson, a man whose ideas had long been ridiculed by the mainstream auto industry. Standing beside him was his trusted engineer, Daniel Carter, adjusting his glasses as he checked the car's systems for the final time. The self-powered car didn't rely on gasoline or traditional battery charging. It generated its own energy through a mysterious process that had left scientists scratching their heads for years. The Tesla competitor was none other than the Model S Plaid, piloted by veteran driver Richard Hall, a man known for pushing vehicles to their absolute limit. As the sun began to rise over the long open highway stretching like a silver ribbon across the horizon, both cars lined up for what was about to become a defining moment in automotive history. The atmosphere was electric, the kind that precedes revolutions, and everyone watching knew this wasn't just a race. It was a battle for the future of transportation, a clash between proven technology and a disruptive newcomer that promised to end dependence on charging stations forever. When the flag dropped, both cars leaped forward with a roar, the Tesla's dual motors unleashing instant torque, while the self-powered car glided forward almost silently, like a predator stalking its prey. The first 100 miles flew by, Tesla holding a slight lead, its acceleration unmatched, but Michael wasn't concerned. He knew his car's strength wasn't in raw speed but in infinite endurance. Meanwhile, Richard smirked behind the wheel of the Tesla, confident that no unproven technology could stand against years of engineering perfection. But then something unexpected began to happen. While Tesla's range indicator slowly ticked downward, the self-powered car showed no sign of depletion. Reporters were glued to their screens, social media exploding with hashtags like #Tesla vs self-power and #FutureOfCars, as armchair experts debated in real time whether this new technology was real or a cleverly staged hoax. At mile 300, Tesla made its first pit stop to recharge, while Michael's car cruised past effortlessly, the crowd erupting in cheers and disbelief. "How is this possible?" one commentator exclaimed on live broadcast, his voice trembling with excitement. Engineers huddled around monitors, trying to decode telemetry data, while Michael calmly sipped water and smiled knowingly. As the race continued through the night, storms rolled in, drenching the highway in sheets of rain, but both drivers pressed on, wipers thrashing, tires hissing against wet asphalt. Richard gritted his teeth, pushing the Tesla hard to make up for lost time, but the inevitable truth loomed over him. No matter how many times he recharged, the self-powered car never stopped, never slowed, never even hinted at fatigue. By mile 800, the world had officially gone into frenzy, headlines screaming about the death of charging stations, oil markets trembling, and Tesla stock dipping as investors questioned whether this was the dawn of a new era. Scientists demanded an explanation, governments whispered about energy disruption, and conspiracy theories bloomed like wildfire. Michael remained silent, refusing to reveal the secrets of his invention, letting the performance speak louder than any press release ever could. And when the final stretch arrived, with cameras following every move, Michael's self-powered marvel glided across the 1,000-mile finish line without a single stop, its dashboard glowing like a promise of freedom from the old ways, while the Tesla, valiant but exhausted, rolled in hours later, its batteries drained, its driver defeated yet respectful of the miracle he had witnessed. In that moment, the crowd understood. The future had changed, and nothing would ever be the same again. The morning air was heavy with anticipation as the world tuned in to what many were calling the greatest automotive showdown of the century. A self-powered car, a machine that seemed to defy the laws of energy consumption, was going head-to-head against a Tesla Model S Plaid in a grueling 1,000-mile endurance challenge that would decide not just bragging rights but perhaps the fate of future transportation. The cameras zoomed in on the two cars parked side by side on the vast expanse of an open desert highway, their sleek silhouettes gleaming under the rising sun. On one side stood the Tesla, the pride of Silicon Valley, a symbol of cutting-edge electric performance, its crimson body reflecting the fiery dawn. Behind the wheel was Richard Hall, a man synonymous with precision driving, whose calm confidence radiated through every movement as he adjusted his gloves and glanced briefly at the self-powered car next to him. That car, however, was unlike anything anyone had ever seen on a public road. A metallic silver machine with lines so sharp and curves so fluid that it looked like it had been sculpted by the wind itself. The man behind this marvel was Michael Stephenson, an inventor whose name had been whispered in tech forums for years but rarely acknowledged by mainstream media until now. Michael stood beside his car, a quiet intensity in his eyes, as reporters crowded around, their microphones thrust forward, desperate for a quote. "Mr. Stevenson, is it true your car can run indefinitely without charging?" one shouted above the din. Michael offered a thin smile and replied simply, "The road will answer that for you." His voice carried a calm certainty that silenced the crowd for a moment before the commentators jumped in, their voices rising with excitement as they tried to explain the stakes to the millions watching worldwide. The flag dropped, and in an instant, both cars surged forward, their tires biting into the asphalt with a ferocity that sent a shiver down the spines of those watching. The Tesla leapt ahead in the first few seconds, its dual motors unleashing brutal acceleration, while Michael's car glided forward almost soundlessly, its movement so smooth it seemed unreal. As the first 100 miles rolled by, the Tesla maintained its lead, Richard's face a mask of calm determination as he expertly navigated the long straight stretches, his eyes flicking to the rearview mirror every so often to catch a glimpse of the silver Phantom trailing him effortlessly. Inside Michael's cockpit, there was no trace of worry. His dashboard displayed a steady energy output, no drain, no warnings, just a serene flow of power that belied the storm it was about to unleash on the automotive world. At mile 150, the commentators were buzzing. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is extraordinary," one exclaimed. "We're 150 miles in, and while Tesla's range is slowly ticking down, the self-powered car hasn't lost a single unit of energy."
Social media éruptait de hashtag. Hashtag Infinite Drive, hashtag Tesla vs Miracle Car, hashtag Futurist Now.
Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, every platform was ablaze with speculation. Was this real? Could a car truly power itself indefinitely? Scientists tuned in from labs across the globe, some scoffing at what they deemed an elaborate PR stunt, others clutching their chins in awe, wondering if they were witnessing the dawn of a new energy era. By the time the 300-mile mark loomed on the horizon, Tesla's dashboard was flashing low-range warnings. Richard grit his teeth, pushing hard to reach the next charging station set up specifically for this challenge. When he finally veered off for the first pit stop, the self-powered car cruised by effortlessly, Michael offering a small wave through the tinted glass as cameras caught the moment that would later become a meme, a single hand raised in calm confidence as the world gasped. News anchors interrupted regular programming to broadcast the live feed, oil markets shuddered, and think tanks scrambled to write emergency analyses. If this technology is real, one commentator declared gravely on a primetime panel, it will collapse the global energy economy as we know it. Meanwhile, on the highway, Richard rejoined the race after a quick 20-minute charge, determined to claw back the lead, but the gap had widened, and Michael's car showed no signs of fatigue. At mile 500, dusk began to settle, painting the desert sky in hues of orange and crimson as both cars sliced through the cooling air, their headlights piercing the growing darkness. Reporters riding in helicopters above captured every angle, their cameras zooming in on Michael's serene expression, a stark contrast to Richard's clenched jaw and furrowed brow as he realized the truth creeping in. No matter how hard he pushed, he was chained to the limitations of charging. The self-powered car, however, was a creature unbound, a relentless force gliding through the night like a phantom of progress. By mile 700, Tesla had stopped twice more, each time losing precious minutes while Michael pressed on without a single pause. Rain began to fall in silver sheets, turning the highway slick, and the challenge evolved into a battle not just of endurance but of survival.
Thunder rumbled in the distance, a lightning illuminated the horizon, casting fleeting shadow across the two machines located in silent war.
Richard gripped the wheel tighter, pushing his Tesla through the storm, every nerve screaming in defiance, but deep down a part of him, an honest, unflinching part, knew the outcome was inevitable. And so did the world. By the time the final 100 miles approached, an eerie calm settled over the highway. The storm had passed, leaving
behind a shimmering ribbon of wet asphalt under, a sky sprinkled with stars.
Michael's car showed no hint of strain, its systems purred like a well-fed beast, its energy reserves as full as when it had started. Tesla, on the other hand, was gasping, every acceleration a plea for mercy, every mile a battle. And then, as dawn broke once more, painting the sky in gold and pink, Michael's car crossed the 1,000-mile finish line without ever stopping, its dashboard glowing like a promise to humanity that the chains of charging and refueling were about to be broken forever. The crowd erupted in disbelief, tears streaming down faces, voices hoarse from cheering, as Michael stepped out, his expression calm yet triumphant. Reporters swarmed him, their questions crashing like waves. How does it work?
Is this the end of gasoline?
What does this mean for the world? Michael raised a hand for silence and said in a voice that would echo across history, "This is not the end.
It's the beginning."
Behind him, Richard pulled in, exhausted but dignified, stepping out to offer a handshake, the gesture of a warrior acknowledging a new king. Cameras captured the moment, freezing it in time, a symbol of transition, of the old making way for the new. And as the sun climbed higher, spilling light on a future forever changed, the world understood that they had witnessed not just a race, but a revolution.